Yes, we have a new lawsuit to discuss. A new team lawsuit, team driver lawsuit. It's a great day for IndyCar drama. I don't ever remember this type of stuff when I was growing up, but boy, as a fan, because I am currently a race fan, very highly unemployed. So I am just enjoying. I'm soaking this all in. We got to get right into it. It's big news. I'm actually very glad that we recorded a little bit later today. Because this is a big deal, right? This is a big deal. Romain Grosjean, friend of the show, is in some sort of, I don't know what arbitration means, but I will read the statement that he put out today, and it's interesting, complimentary, but also there's something going on here. So this is a limited statement of Romain Grosjean regarding arbitration. October 4th, 2023, I enjoyed working with the IndyCar team at Andretti Autosport, and I'm proud of the successes we shared through 2 seasons. I am thankful for the many friendships and developed at the highest level of American open wheel racing. I had expected to continue racing with the fine people of Andretti Autosport in the coming years. I am disappointed that is not being fulfilled and wish Andretti team members well. I am pursuing other options to continue my IndyCar career in pursuit of excellence. I have commenced an arbitration proceeding in Indiana against Andretti Autosport seeking to protect my rights. I am represented by John Malley and Mark Owens of Barnes & Thornburg, LLP. Respectfully, Romain Grosjean. I don't know what arbitration means, so I gave it to our producer, Ben, this does seem like a producer thing. Sorry, Ben. But Ben, I would like you to read us the definition of arbitration, because I am not a lawyer, so please continue.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is according to the American Bar Association. So we thank you for their support on this podcast. According to them, arbitration is a private process where disputing parties agree that one or several individuals can make a decision about a dispute after receiving evidence and hearing arguments. And arbitration is different from mediation because the neutral arbitrator has the authority to make a decision about the dispute.
I have no idea what that means. So someone getting sued? I don't.
So it's kind of like they're going to court.
There's a disagreement
amicably.
about an agreement.
Correct. So they're going to court amicably, and they're like, okay, let's try to figure this out amongst ourselves with like a legal person there in the background, and then the neutral arbitrator can make a decision, and they can take it or leave it. So they're basically just getting like a third opinion.
Interesting.
And if they don't like it, then they'll take it to like bigger court, I think.
Okay. Yeah. And it looks seeking to protect my rights. So I don't know exactly what that means, but I know that it's a shame to see that. I mean, you could tell there was definitely some headbutting going on towards the end of the year. I mean, that you'd be blind if you weren't seeing that. I mean, it's obvious, but I mean, that's why. I mean, fascinating.
Here's what I'm assuming is going down in this situation. Like you mentioned, the headbutting that was going on, the drain that this season was going down the toilet for Romain Grosjean and Andretti in the 28 car led to what seems like maybe an early release of the contract.
Yes.
Right. Now, with that early release of the contract, I'm sure that along with the contract ends, maybe, I'm not sure, I'm assuming this is why it's going to arbitration, that it has something in there about non-compete or some situation of that. Hey, you cannot, at least in my comedic entertainment contracts that I get, Connor, I know you can fill us in better on the driver contracts ins and outs, but at least for me, it's hey, if you do a deal with this brand, you are not able to do a deal with someone who is of certain types of services for X number of days, blah, blah, blah. Now, I've been lucky enough to where all my deals have fully gone through, and I haven't had to worry about having to axe one of those deals and then sitting there saying, well, now I can't go get another deal with somebody else in that space. But it seems like that's got to be the case, right? Like Andretti said, hey, we had you for this long. we're changing direction. But in Roman's mind, he's saying, well, it's not necessarily cause for change or termination, if you will. And now I go sign a deal with somebody else. So I feel like that's where we're at.
Yes, I think, and there's also, I don't know how these deals work. Every driver's contract really is kind of different, but there might be a situation where, I don't know if I should really say that. I mean, it's not bad, but like when I drove for Andretti Autosport, right, that was an incredible experience. But I think, when you move on to somewhere else, they're very protective of their property, right? Whether that's sponsorship, information. So you obviously can't just leave Andretti Autosport and be like, well, here's all their setup sheets, or like, here's, sure. I'd like to bring some of their sponsors with me, right? Because the Air Force deal was a little bit different. Like that in those contracts, we were able to move the Air Force to Ed Carpenter Racing, like, because that was a deal that was really, through me. And that was like a relationship that I had. And so that was something that, like, hey, you know what? It was a situation where we were able to get a lot more out of the budget in a different situation. So that was that. But, I had some small relationships with some of the partners at Andretti Autosport. But there was a legal document there that I was like, okay, hey, you know what? I know that I am not. And they were like, hey, Connor, like, by the way, there's this. And I was like, hey, that's totally fine. I had a very enjoyable experience with Andretti Autosport. This is business. You can't take partners that they've got with you, which is like, hey, totally fine. But maybe there's something there where he's like, hey, you saw some of Grosjean's partners maybe on the car. I don't know. He's obviously got to find, if he wants to continue IndyCar racing, maybe he's going to need some sponsorship at some new team that he goes to, whether that's Dale Coyne Racing or whatever's left. Right. So there's always, racing is it's a sticky business at times, very sticky. We've obviously seen, this week we saw the damages that McLaren is requesting Alex Palou to pay is like $23 million. Let me tell you something, folks. No IndyCar driver is making $23 million. So no IndyCar driver is making over $10 million. I can promise you that. So it's so that's a wild deal. But you hate to see it because the folks at Andretti Autosport, they've got so much great things going for them right now. Gamebridge, Dan Tauris, Michael Andretti, JF Thorman, all those people I have a tremendous amount of respect for. Having the chance to drive for Andretti Autosport was, I think, one of the most special times in my career, having a great Indy 500 run with them. But also, I wouldn't want to go up against them in any lawsuit either. Like, if you're talking Zach Brown or Andretti Autosport to be in lawsuits with, no thanks. Those are some powerhouses right there. And I do not want to be, crossing swords with those guys. That's for sure. So pretty wild move, but you hate to see it. But from the fans' perspective, you're just like, man, it's wild to see this. I mean, for me, it's like, I'm like, man, some drama, crazy drama.
Yeah, reality TV type stuff. And yeah, hope they, hope everybody is lawyered up and has got some good ones, because you never know who's going to be slapping you with some arbitration or some lawsuits going down now in the IndyCar paddock.
Yeah, I mean, you just, you hate to see it go there, but obviously this is this is a selfish game. This is a sport that's brutal in many, many ways that often the fans don't see. But now you're seeing it. I mean, you're seeing it right out in front of you. So we hope this gets resolved peacefully. Obviously, we hope everyone's good. We're big fans of both parties.